Hello students, welcome to this video tutorial on subtracting integer supernote, part A, method 1, integer tiles, part 2. Alright, so in the first video we completed examples 1 and 2, the easiest type of subtraction questions. So let's go on to some more challenging ones, some ones that are more fun. Alright, let's go to example 3. -2 subtract -5. So if we were to write that in standard form, the first integer we could take the bracket off, and then the second integer we can't take the bracket off, so we have to rewrite it as it is. So this is how we would rewrite it in standard form. -2 subtract -5. I hope you're getting better at this standard form stuff. Okay, put your pencils down. All right, let's work with our integer tiles. So the first integer is -2. Okay, so let's bring down 2 negative tiles. All right, step number 2, see if you can take away the second integer. Well, the second integer is -5. Well, can I take away 5 negative tiles? No, I can't. So let's go to rule number 3. If you can't, add just enough zero models so you can take away the second integer. So the second integer is -5. I have to take away 5 negative tiles, but I've already got 2 negative tiles. So how many negative tiles do I need to make 5 negative tiles? Well, I need 3 negative tiles, okay? Not 5, okay? I don't want to add 5 because I've already got 2 here. So let's bring down 3 negative tiles. Now, when we bring over 3 negative tiles, the problem is we've changed the first integer. The first integer now is no longer -2, it's actually -5. So, when we bring over the 3 negative tiles, we have to match them with 0 models. And I'll show you why here once I bring them over. So bring over 3 positive tiles so that they line up under the 3 negative tiles that you just brought over. Okay? Now look at this diagram. Now if you look at this diagram, we can see that the first integer is unchanged. This diagram still represents -2 because we have 3 zero models. Okay? All right, so this is the part where I told you that the thinking is completely different. The strategy is completely different from what we've ever done before. So now, let's go to number 4. Do not circle any zero models. Up until now, when we used addition, we always circled zero models. But for subtraction, we do not. And take away the second integer. Well, the second integer is -5. So now, the fun part, let's take away the 5 negative tiles. Okay? So once you've taken away the second integer, the 5 negative tiles, there shouldn't be any more negative tiles. And what's left? +3. So at first glance, you might be thinking, how is this possible? We have 2 negative integers and we're subtracting them from each other and we get a positive integer as a solution? Okay, so I want you to keep that question in your mind because it's a very good question and this kind of hints at some subtraction rules. Okay, so we know that the answer is going to be +3. All right, so let's clear our integer tiles. Like I said, this is one of those exciting problems that makes you kind of think. Okay, so how are we going to represent the solution in a tile diagram? Okay, all right, so let's grab your pencils. So let's draw the first integer. The first integer is -2. Okay, that part's easy. Rule number 2, step number 2, see if you can take away the second integer. Well, we already know that we can't take away 5 negative tiles because there's only 2 negative tiles here. Rule number 3, if you can't, add just enough zero models so you can. So to remember what we did? We needed 3 negative tiles to make 5 negative tiles. So we add 3 negative tiles, and when we add those 3 negative tiles, they have to be matched with 0 models, with 3 positive tiles. Okay? Rule number 4, step number 4, do not circle any zero models. We're not circling any zero models. And take away the second integer. Well, remember the second integer was -5. So I'm going to draw a loop around all 5 of these negative tiles, and I'm going to show that I'm going to take them away. Okay? What remains, let's redraw what remains. Let's draw the pointy arrow. And what remains is 3 positive tiles. And we get an answer of +3. Okay? All right, let's write our conclusion statement. Therefore, -2 subtract -5 equals +3, or simply 3. Okay? All right, so we'll have a chance to kind of use that type of style of question again, okay? Because that's really the trickiest type. Okay, so we're ready to go on to example 4. All right, so example 4, +2 subtract -4. So let's rewrite it in standard form. So +2 can simply be written as 2, subtract +4 can be written as 4. So we get a very simple looking question, 2 minus 4. Okay, so let's work with the tiles. Put your pencils down. So let's build the first integer. The first integer is +2. So let's get the 2 positives down here. Okay? Rule number 2, see if you can take away the second integer. Well, the second integer is +4. Can we take away 4 positive tiles? No, we can't. So let's go to rule step number 3. If you can't, add just enough zero models so you can. So if we have to take away 4 positive tiles, and we've already got 2 positive tiles, how many positive tiles do we need to add? Well, we need 2 more positive tiles to make 4 in total. We're not going to add 4 positive tiles because there are already 2 positive tiles there. Now, when we added these 2 positive tiles, they have to be made into zero models, okay? Because again, you don't want to change the value of the first integer. The first integer is +2. So look at this diagram. This diagram is still +2, isn't it? Okay. Step number 4, do not circle any zero models. We're not going to circle any zero models. And take away the second integer. The second integer is +4. So now we can take away the 4 positive integers. So let me grab them and take them out of the way. You remove them. And what remains should be the answer. So the answer should be -2. Okay? All right, so let's clear your board. Let's get rid of those tiles. And let's grab your pencils. And let's draw the diagram. So if you're getting kind of used to this, then you can kind of stay ahead of me or don't wait for me to provide the solution. So the first integer is +2. So let's start with +2. Okay? See if you can take away the second integer. Well, we don't have enough tiles. We need 4 positive tiles. So what did we do? We added 2 positive tiles. Remember, we didn't add 4 positive tiles. And then we matched them with zero models with 2 negative tiles. Now at this point, you always have to ask yourself, have I changed the value of the first integer? The first integer is +2. Look at your diagram. Is your diagram still representing +2? Okay, so that's a really good check for you to see if you're on the right path. All right, rule number 4, step number 4, do not circle any zero models and take away the second integer. Okay, so what I am going to circle is, I'm going to circle the 4 positive tiles, which represent the second integer that I'm going to remove. Okay? All right. Step number 5, redraw what remains. So what remains is 2 negative tiles. Okay? Therefore, +2 subtract +4 equals -2. 2. Okay, so I hope that's making a little bit of sense. So examples 3 and 4 are very similar. They're the second style of question. Examples 1 and 2 are very similar. They're the first style of question. So now let's go to the last style of question, example 5 and 6. Okay? All right, so example 5 is -3 subtract +1. So let's rewrite that in standard form. So -3 in brackets can be rewritten as -3 without brackets. Subtract +1 in brackets can be rewritten as simply as 1. -3 subtract 1. Okay, so let's work with our tiles. Let's build the first integer, -3. So let me bring over 3 negative tiles. Here we go. Okay. And then we're asked to take away the second integer. The second integer is +1. Are there any positive tiles? No, there aren't any. So if I have to take away one positive tile, then I need to add one positive tile. But I can't just add one positive tile. I have to match it with a 0 model. So I'm going to bring over a positive and a negative. Now, before I do anything, look at your tile solution. Does it still represent the first integer, -3? Look at this diagram. Yes, it does, because I've got 3 negative tiles and a 0 model. So now, let's take away the second integer. The second integer is +1. So let's take away the +1. And what remains should be our answer. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so let's clear your board and let's see how we're going to draw it. Now, if you've got a hint on how you're going to draw it, then you can start while I remove my tiles here. Okay, so let's draw the first integer. So we've got 3 negatives. Okay? Now, we have to take away the +1. Well, can we take away the +1? No, because there are no positive tiles. So let's add +1 and then let's add a negative because this is a 0 model. Okay? Now before we do anything, ask yourself the question. Look at your tile diagram. Does it still represent -3? Yes, it does. Now we don't circle any 0 models, but we circle the second integer to take it away. The second integer is +1. So let's circle the +1 and take it away. Okay? All right, let's redraw what remains. What remains is 4 negative tiles. Okay, and our answer is 4 negative. Therefore, -3 subtract +1 equals -4. Okay? All right. So let's go on to our last example. Example 6. So let's rewrite it in standard form. The question is +4 subtract -6. Well, +4 can just be written as 4. And the -6, unfortunately, in brackets, has to just be copied as -6 in brackets. Okay, so put your pencils down. So let's start with our tiles. So let's bring over 4 positive tiles. Okay. Now, I have to take away or remove 6 negative tiles. Well, the problem is I don't have any negative tiles. So how many negative tiles do I have to add? Well, I've got to add 6 because I need to take away 6. So it's funny that we're adding tiles to remove them. That's the thing that you have to kind of get in your head about the whole subtraction with tiles thing. Okay, if you can accept that, then this method is really not that tricky. It's just different. It's just a different way of thinking. Okay, so I'm going to bring over my 6 negative tiles. Okay, now when I do that, I have to match them with 6 positive tiles because they have to be 0 models. So let's bring over 6 positive tiles. I hope you have enough tiles. I think I will have enough. If I can grab this one. Okay, probably took me a lot longer to build the tile solution than you did. Okay, so before I do anything, look at your diagram, look at your tile solution. Does it still represent the first integer? The first integer is positive 4. Well, I've got 4 positive tiles and 6 0 models. So yes, this is still the first integer. So now, can I take away 6 negatives? Yes, I can. I'm going to take away all my 6 negatives. Just going to move them all over here. Okay, and what remains should be my answer. So what should the answer be? Okay, all right. Hopefully you said positive 10. All right, so let me clear my board. And while I'm doing that, it will give you a head start on the tile solution because this always takes me a long time. Okay, I'm ready to start. Okay, so let's build the first integer, positive 4. Sorry, not build it, draw it. Positive 4. Okay, I have to take away or remove the second integer, 6 negative tiles. There are no negative tiles, so I got to draw all 6. And I can't just draw 6 negative tiles. I've got to match them with 0 models, 6 positive tiles. Now before I do anything, ask yourself, have I changed the first integer? The first integer is positive 4. Does this diagram still represent positive 4? Yes, it does. It has 4 positive tiles and 6 0 models. So step number 4, we don't circle the 0 models, but we take away or remove the second integer. The second integer was negative 6. I'm going to take away all those negative tiles. Then I redraw what remains. Well, what remains, we've already said, is 10 positive tiles. Okay, so you could put them all in a row, or you can redraw them as 2 stacks. Whatever helps you count them better, it's fine. So if it helps you to stack 5 on 5, then do it that way. Okay? And then let's write our integer answer, positive 10. Conclusion statement, therefore, positive 4 subtract negative 6 equals positive 10 or 10. Okay, so we went through 6 examples, the 3 different types of subtraction questions. Remember, example 1 and 2 are one style, example 3 and 4 are another style, and example 5 and 6 are the third style. Okay, I hope it's starting to make sense. Thanks for hanging in there for a very long lesson. Thanks for watching. Bye.